Good evening everyone. Welcome to Abhiram IAS Academy. This is Pavani Reddy Palla. I'm here to discuss the detailed chronicle related to one important topic, that is the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act 2013. Okay, so in the news we have some controversy related to the Lokpal order and the Supreme Court stay. So what is it? So recently the Lokpal order has included the High Court judges under its jurisdiction. So what is meant by that? So now people can complain about the High Court judges related to corruption charges, and the Lokpal institution will investigate and will give the report and punishment consequently. So now let us go into all the details related to the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act. So, the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act has drafted in 2013. So, what is the term Lokpal and Lokayukta referring to? So, they are nothing but the independent anti-corruption body. At the central level, we have the Lokpal, and at the state level, we have the Lokayukta institutions which are investigating and punishing the public servants on corruption charges. So, what is the background for the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act? So, it is nothing but the anti-corruption movement led by Anna Hazare in 2011. So, because of that movement, it has led into the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act 2013. So, let us discuss the structure of the Lokpal and Lokayukta. Coming to the Lokpal, we have Lokpal institution set up at the central level. Okay, so there will be one chairperson. He should be the former Supreme Court Chief Justice or a judge, or should have the anti-corruption expertise. Okay, so this is the requirement of the chairperson of the Lokpal institution. So he should be either former Supreme Court judge or Chief Justice of India, or he should have anti-corruption expertise. Okay, so this is the requirement for chairperson, whereas the members can be up to total 8. Okay, so from whom at least minimum 50%, that is minimum 4% should be from the judicial background. So the chairperson should be either the former Supreme Court judge or Chief Justice. A person can be appointed if he is having the expertise in the corruption related cases. The members must be 8. Among them, at least 4 members should be having a judicial background. And in this members, at least half of them should be from the SC, ST, OBC, minorities or women communities. So, from the vulnerable or the backward sections, there must be 4 members. Okay, so backward sections in the society will be included in the membership. Okay, so this is something information you have to remember about the Lokpal. Then what is Lokayukta? Lokayukta is a body. So what is Lokayukta? Lokayukta is a body which is set up at the state level. So this will deal at the central level and the Lokayukta at the state level. So each state must have a Lokayukta to deal with corruption within the state government. Okay. The structure and powers will vary from state to state. Okay. So this act provides flexibility to the state government to draft its own Lokayukta related conditions. Okay. Or what is the jurisdiction of the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act? So, public can file cases or complaints related to corruption. So, the Prime Minister, the head of the government is included in the bill. Okay. So, the Prime Minister is included, but there are exceptions. We cannot file complaints related to the national security, foreign relations or atomic energy, which are having confidentiality. Okay, so these things are not included in the jurisdiction of The Prime Minister. So Prime Minister will come under the Lokpal Bill. So all the ministers will come under the jurisdiction of the Act. We have the Member of Parliament, that is the MPs, who will come under the jurisdiction of the bill, and also the Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, government, central government employees will come under the jurisdiction of the Act. Okay, next we have one important thing which we will just get confused in the prelims point of view. Okay, so we have to remember that there is inclusion of the directors or the chairpersons, managers of the NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Okay, so if they receive more than 1 crore from government or 10 lakh in the foreign funding. So, who are the NGOs which are coming under the jurisdiction? So, number one, we have the government. If the government is funding them 1 crore of amount, then those NGOs will come in the jurisdiction of the Lokpal Act. If the foreign funding is 10 lakhs, then those NGOs will also, NGOs directors, chairpersons will also come under the jurisdiction of the Act. Next, what is the process of the appointment of the Lokpal? Okay, so there will be, as we all know, there will be a search committee. So this search committee will propose the list of names. Okay, so these names will be sent to the selection committee. So what is selection committee? How many people are present in the selection committee? So number one, we have the Prime Minister as the chairperson of the selection committee. So this point is very important. Okay, so we all know that generally the Prime Minister will be the chairperson of the selection committee. Number two, Chief Justice of India or any judge who is a Supreme Court judge nominated by the CJI. So it should be either the CJI or he should nominate some Supreme Court judge. So one person will be in the selection committee. Next, Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Speaker of Lok Sabha. So we have the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. Leader of opposition of the Lok Sabha. Next, an eminent jurist is nominated by the President of India. Okay, so here we have the CJI and the eminent jurist of the judicial background. Okay, so there are 2 persons who are with the judicial background and the 3 persons are related to the political background. That is the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Leader of Opposition. So you have to remember this question, this one, because why? There is ongoing controversy and there is every chance you get a question related to the selection process or on the controversy, etc. in the coming UPSC prelims. So what are the powers and functions of the Lokpal and Lokayukta institutions? So number one, we have the investigation and prosecution. So based on the complaints filed, so they are going to investigate and prosecute the public servants who are involved in the corruption cases. Okay, right? So they can involve in the asset seizure and punishment. So if the corruption charges have been proved, if the public servants are felt guilty, then the asset seizure can be done. All the assets earned by the public servants can be seized by the Lokpal institution, and also they can give the relevant punishment to the public servants. And next is the whistleblower protection. What is meant by this term whistleblower? So a person in secret, if he tells the information related to the illegal things or illegal processes happening, then that person is known as whistleblower. So if any person is giving complaint in the form of a whistleblower, then the protection of that person is under the responsibility of the Lokpal and Lokayukta institution. Okay, so power over CBI. So the Lokpal and Lokayukta institutions are generally kept above all the autonomous institutions where it can direct the CBI related to certain cases or to do certain investigations. Okay, so that is the power it is having over the CBI. what are the important criticism related to the Lokpal institutions? So it is the exclusion of judiciary. Okay, so this was important criticism, but now what it has done, so it has included the High Court judges under its jurisdiction, right? So again, this is a controversy between the judiciary versus the Lokpal institution. Okay, so this is the main controversy. So this was one of the limitation of the Lokpal institution, but now this is again a controversy now. So let us see in future what it will happen. Next, no Lokayuktas in some states. Okay, we know that Lokayukta must be established at the state level by the state government, right? So many states haven't implemented the Lokayukta, thereby it has reduced the anti-corruption efforts from the government side. Okay, so if the Lokayukta himself is not available or not been appointed, then whom to the public must file the complaints related to the corruption? Next important criticism is related to the delay in implementation of the act. So, we all know that the act came in 2013, but until 2019, there was no appointment of the Lokpal in the India. So, it means it took almost 6 years for the appointment of the first Lokpal of India. So, this is one important criticism raised by the reports. So, other important criticisms, we have the lack of independence. Okay, what is meant by this? Because we know in the selection committee, 3 are from the political background, which includes the Prime Minister, the Speaker, and Leader of Opposition, right? And 2 from the judiciary background, but one is the Supreme Court Judge or Chief Justice, and the other one is the jurist appointed by the President. Okay, so here we have the majority of the ruling party. The Prime Minister, the Speaker, and the jurist appointed by the President, these 3 they behave based on the ruling party will. So, the majority party or the ruling party is having the control over the appointment of the Lokpal. So that is why he cannot act independent after taking charge as the Lokpal. So this is one important controversy or the criticism which is having in the Lokpal institution. Okay. Another important one is the anonymous complaints are not taken as part of the anti-corruption complaints. Okay, so the person should reveal his identity. There will be some persons, maybe because of the political fear or because of lack of power, they won't be revealing their identity. So all those persons are demotivated. Next important criticism is related to the lack of transparency. Lack of transparency. After the public giving a complaint against the corruption charges of a particular officer, the process of the conduction of investigation, prosecution, etc. are not kept transparent. So this is one important negative criticisms related to the Lokpal. And also, Lokpal is not having any power to start and investigate any public servants by his own. Okay, only if the public are giving complaints, then only the Lokpal is empowered to do the investigation and prosecution process. Otherwise, he by himself is not able to start the investigation. So, to effectively fight against the corruption, to reduce the corruption in the country, there is necessity of a strong, independent and autonomous anti-corruption body like the Lokpal and Lokayukta. So we need to provide this institution functional autonomy. We need to provide them financial and administrative independence. We need to provide them the transparency. and effective leadership. So this has been one of the commendable steps taken by the government of India in the recent times. So a strong, independent, autonomous functioning of Lokpal and Lokayukta is very critical for the world's largest democracy, India. Okay, that's all for today. So let's continue our discussion tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to Abhiram IAS Academy. Thank you.